Good day. Hope everybody's having a good one out there. So, Tara and Marco are going to be playing a show together. There's a write up here in Blabbermouth talking a bit about it, but it seems to focus a bit more on their leaving the band Nightwish and what their mindset is. And I think there's some interesting things in here that are kind of outside of the band's Tara's project, what Marco is doing, and Nightwish themselves. I think there's some things that are really relatable and that are kind of important to be in the conversation of this whole thing. When band members break up and stuff like that, the focus can be on the drama and what happened between everybody and why all of a sudden. But a lot of times what can be overlooked is somebody's personal mental state and what they are going through. They are not just a band member. They are a person. There's a being behind these. We tend to forget sometimes as fans that these are humans, and they have struggles. No matter how easy we might think someone's life might be, they still have mental struggles just like everybody else. And I think it's very important that this is being shared, and that that people are opening up about this. And I think it helps people kind of relate. We're in kind of tough times, and people mentally are struggling in a lot of different areas. And I think this is one of those things that a lot of people can relate to. And I think it definitely deserves some talking about. So, first and foremost, there's a big show going on. And in fact, we can scroll right here through this huge article, and it talks about Saturday, July 8th, 2023. Obviously, nowhere near where I'm going to be probably ever, sadly, in my life, but very cool. So people that are around this can be checking this out. I know I've heard this talked about in the comments of other videos that there's supposed to be something going on. This is my first time officially seeing something about it. So I think that there's some very cool things though in this article that I think deserve mentioning. So they're going to be doing a show together, and there was a lot of talk about the way that both of these members have left the band. My personal opinion, especially on how she was expelled from the band, we'll say, I think they could have handled things a bit better than that. Personally, I think that was kind of not the best way to do that. That's the nicest way I can think to put it, is you could have done a little bit better than that. But or I think she probably deserved a bit better than that, maybe. But again, we don't know exactly all of the goings-ons. We only ever know surface level and what we're allowed to know. And one thing that I will say about all of these people is, regardless of how things took place, they've all maintained a pretty high level of respect for one another. Not really trash talking or anything in that regard, is what I'm getting at. Okay, so in this article, it talks about former Nightwish members Tara and Marco announced special concert in Switzerland. Such a beautiful place. Former Nightwish members Tara Tarunian, and that's one thing. I'm going to mispronounce a lot of stuff and a lot of names. Please bear with me. I'm trying really hard here. And Marco will join forces for a special open-air concert on July 8th at Z7 Summer Nights in Pertelm, Switzerland. Tara was fired from Nightwish at the end of the band's 2005 tour for being presented with an open letter, which was published on Nightwish website at the same time. In the letter, the other members of Nightwish wrote, to you, unfortunately, business, money, and things that have nothing to do with emotions have become much more important. I can just kind of guess some of the conflicting attitudes were with that whole thing. Now, in the meantime, me just being a newer fan, I've been coming into this learning secondhand a lot of this stuff, being that I've come in after the fact. So, Nightwish keyboardist and main songwriter Talis Halopainen later called the decision to part ways with Tara the most difficult thing I ever had to do. For her part, Tara said the way she was kicked out of the group proved that her former bandmates were not her friends. Maybe one day I'll forgive, but I will never forget, she said. In 2019, she dismissed internet chatter about her possible return to Nightwish after her December 2017 onstage reunion with the band's then bassist vocalist Marco Italia during a Raskasta Julia concert in Finland. I know a lot of fans would love to see something happen, but it's a very long distance away, she told Kerrang! Magazine. Personally, I don't see anything happening with me and them, to be perfectly honest. Marco came a little later into the band. He wasn't there since the beginning. He was always a guy I was close to. Me and Talis Halopainen, however, haven't seen each other in a long time. I'm assuming probably since or close to it. But we have been in touch. It's not bad. The past is what it is. We can't change that. We can only change the future. And you have to admire that outlook, because it's not easy to be that adult in these kinds of situations. So I totally have the utmost respect, because there's a lot of bandmates and stuff that would do a lot of trash talking and a lot of, but the way, this is the example that I'm talking about of the way they've maintained respect for, themselves and one another. Nightwish's authorized biography, Once Upon a Nightwish, the official biography 1996 through 2006, was published in Finnish in 2006 and in English 3 years later. I'm going to have to track this down. Tara's husband, Marcello Caboli, and his business partners later sued the parties behind the book for defamation. Named in the lawsuit were the publishing house Like Kustanas Oi, and the author of the book, Barco Mape Olila. Kabuli and his Brazilian business partners argued that the book includes false accusations and insinuations that have caused them suffering and financial problems. The book blamed Kabuli for the events leading up to Tara's dramatic expulsion from the band in late 2005. In 2011, the Helsinki District Court dismissed Kabuli's lawsuit, ruling that the book, which criticized Kabuli on only a few of its 380 pages, did not detrimentally affect his work or reputation in South America. In addition, the court determined that Olila did not maliciously portray Kabuli in a negative light. So there was no, malice or just trying to stick with how it went down. Has anybody read this? What do you think? Is it an accurate portrayal, giving what you might know aside from this? I'd be interested in knowing, and I'm also interested in tracking this down. A little over a year ago, Tara was asked in an interview with Top Link music manager and concert promoter Paulo Barron and music critic Regis Tadu if she would consider doing a tour with Nightwish if all of her former bandmates apologized to her about how their split happened and invited her to share the stage with them again. I really kind of dislike questions like this because it's this big hypothetical that you're expecting them to, it's such a loaded kind of question, and you're really overlooking a lot of the nuance and I get why someone would ask the question. I still think it's kind of a shitty question. But she responded, "It is very, very hypothetical that all what you said will happen. First of all, it's very, very hypothetical. I'm living in a world like we are living in a world that things happen without us noticing," she continued. I mean, I can't really close any doors in that sense. I'm not that kind of person any longer. I learned so many things in this life already. I take them as they are. That's a very good way to answer a loaded question like that, in my opinion. So I don't know. It would be very hypothetically possible, she added. It would be unlikely to happen. So that's a no. And why? Why would that even happen? It's like, what would you name the tour? Tour Awkward? Like, really? It's just, what are you hoping? I don't understand why you would even want such a thing. I guess maybe, maybe in the motherland that might seem like it'd be a really cool possibility. It's just, looking from where I sit, it just seems like it would just be awkward. And I don't see why that would even be, again, why it would even be a question hypothetically, because why would you even want that? Hietala announced his departure from Nightwish in January 2021, explaining in a statement that he hadn't been able to feel validated by his life for quite a few years now. He has since been replaced by session bassist Jukka Koskinen of Winter Sun, who made his live debut with Nightwish in May 2021 at the band's 2 interactive experiences, which I've since seen, which is very cool. And an August 2022 interview with Finland's Chaos Zine, Hietala Markko revealed that he went through a dark period in his life, which included depression, insomnia, anxiety, and eventually attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, diagnosis. Speaking about how he eventually came to the realization that exiting Nightwish was the right thing to do, Markko said, "It was a long process. Of course, the COVID year that was there where I had a lot of time for soul searching, it obviously gave me the last incentive that I need something else. That if I just continue with this, I'm just going to get sicker and sicker. But of course, it's a process." And these are the things I think we should be paying attention to right here. These words that he is saying, because this is totally something that we can all relate to in real life, that where we get stuck in a rut or we get stuck in a place that from outsiders might seem very, very good, or just you might seem to have it made, but you don't, and you are struggling. And it's not a good place, and it's not a happy place for you mentally at all. I've been chronic depressive since 2010 or 2011, so I've been on a permanent medication ever since, he revealed. Sometimes you get used to the meds and, well, you need more. We did raise the dosage during the years also, but it just didn't work. And now that I started to do, well, I had psychotherapy for over 4 years now. And then I also talked to psychotherapists and some doctors, and did that also in Spain. Then my psychiatrist here in Finland said that I should do these ADHD neuropsychological tests, which I then did in Spain, and okay, I got it. He reiterated that he had been thinking about leaving Nightwish for a while before making the final decision, because I had a lot of weight, and I tend to, with the attention disorder, it tells me that when there are lots of trouble, then the disorder makes it into a real chaos, he explained. And people with ADHD or different levels of this can attest to this. This is, you know, a struggle, and things that might seem simple can, you know, spin out of control very fast. He explained, "There's a shitload of stuff coming and going, and no peace anywhere. And for a year or two, I was already waking up every night at 3 o'clock to bad dreams and anxiety. So I'd say that the whole process probably started already with my former divorce in 2016. That was a very sad time when you think about your kids and your broken homes and all that. And then when I started to get clear from that, then there were, well, all kinds of things. I don't really want to go any deeper into what kinds of things I'd gone through, but I'd gone through enough. So he does, you know, we can assume, and that's where I think this was kind of an important thing to share, because it is very relatable for people. These are human beings going through some shit, and they you know, in an odd way, it's what makes them better writers and performers and all this. But the flip side of that coin can be very nasty. And this is, well, this is that flip side. You know, this isn't the Marco everybody sees on stage. This is the person behind that Marco that we see on stage. And I think it's also very big of him to open up like this. It's not easy to tell people that, you know, you're struggling, or that, you know, you have some weak areas that that are impeding on your life. Acknowledging that making Nightwish's latest studio album, 2020's Human to Nature, was a difficult experience for him. Marco denied that his mental state at the time resulted in a diminished role for him on the final LP. I think the original idea was to have that we'll do a couple of solo vocal appearances, or one solo for me and Troy, and the rest Floor, and then the harmonies. That was the idea originally for that, he said. So I don't know if it affected. I think it was sort of as planned. But at that time, I really had serious trouble with concentrating and serious trouble with a constant black cloud over my head. So it was hard for him to kind of, you know, anyway. So maybe, but he seems to think that things went according to plan. Last July, Marco told Finland's Italitai that he had not kept in touch with Nightwish since his departure, or followed the activities of his former band. In May 2021, Holopainen said that Atalia's Marco's decision to leave Nightwish came as a bit of a surprise. He told Finland's Chaos TV, I love the way they write Chaos, Marco informed us in December of 2020 that he was leaving the band. And even though he has been very open about his state and problems during the past years, it still came as a bit of a surprise for us. So it was a really tough pill to swallow. And for a few days, I was actually quite confident that there's no coming back, that this is it. I remember talking to Ampu Vorinen, the guitar player, and we were like, you think this is it? Yeah, I think this is it. I mean, enough is enough. So much has happened in the past. Something that broke the camel's back, as they say. Then after some time had passed, a few days, we started to think that it's been such a ride for 25 years with so many ups also, that this is not the way to end it. Thomas elaborated Nightwish's reason for carrying on, saying, I think we still have something to give. That's the main point. The music is still there. We felt that there's still so much music that needs to come out from this band that, okay, let's give it one more shot and let's find a new bass player. And that was really easy. I think that was really easy is a bit minimized. I mean, you're talking, you know, A+++ class level bass playing. But he doesn't, you know, he doesn't do the singing or anything. He's just primarily the bass player. I've said this a million times, that a lineup change is the ultimate energy vampire, and that's how it really felt and still feels. So what is that to mean? In June 2021, Jansen spoke about Marco's exit from the band on an episode of her Storytime YouTube video series. She said, that was a very sudden surprise that, of course, was not fun at all. But we understand. I understand. It was a necessary thing for him to do. And from there, we had to think of how to continue without him. And that also, in preparations towards the virtual show, was a huge challenge. I can imagine. Now, the article kind of goes on to notice, like note key points in everybody's leaving and all of that. I wanted to basically share it because, first of all, I think it's very cool that these two are doing a show together. I think that's awesome. I think fans want to see these two perform together. I am intrigued and want to see these two perform together. I know that she's been putting out and doing some awesome things musically. So, and I've been keeping track on what she's been up to with interviews and stuff like that. This is the first that I've really dug into what Marco's been up to and how he's been coping mentally. I've heard and read things in the comments. I read the comments. So I was somewhat filled in, but I didn't realize to the extent that he was really suffering with things. And again, I think it's really big of him to open up about these things and to be upfront. And because their personal lives is their personal lives, regardless of how much of in the spotlight these people are. They're also human beings, and probably not us watching or whatever, but a lot of people I think tend to forget that. And that's some really relatable stuff right there that I think is good to hear. That it doesn't matter how big or how good of a life it might look like you have or that you may have. You can still be struggling with things, and it's it's saying it's okay to not be okay, and there's people to talk to, and there's friends and all that you should definitely let somebody know if you're struggling. But yeah, very cool. I wish I was somewhere in the vicinity of this. I'm sure it's already sold out. But this is going to be very, very cool. Illumishade is going to be the special guest at this show. So that's a cool name. But anyway, yeah, Saturday, July 8th, 2023. Awesome stuff. Let's see if this is the beginning of some reunions. Maybe we know that her and Flora have shared the stage since her departure. They are friends. So there could be some cool things in the future musically that could come of all this. It's interesting to see. But I hope everybody out there is having a great day. What do you think? Let me know. I'll catch you all in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.